So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another module of Agency Incubator. In today's module, we are going to be talking about a paradigm to carry through, or in fact, I believe it's 6, but let's get straight into it. So, a paradigm to carry through. In today's teachings, we're going to be covering the key paradigms to carry through this process. Paradigm 1, Paradigm 2, Paradigm 3, 4, 5, and 6. So, Paradigm 1, and this is one of my favorite sayings. To be honest, I don't actually remember where I first heard it, but it's an honor, not a job. Not a very common saying, but something we say internally at growyouragency.com very often. So it's an honor, not a job. And here's what I mean by that. A job is a place you go to, you that says pinch in, but you punch in and you punch out. Right? And once your shift is over, or once the, whatever time you need to put in to get paid, once that's over, you're done, right? And you don't care about it and you don't think twice about it, right? That's a job. Well, what you're doing right now, which is building a service-based business, helping real businesses out there, this isn't a job, all right? Now, most people, and one sort of caveat I would say is, I've never worked a job before. So, and I guess that's lucky. Obviously, I started off in business very, very young, but I've never worked a job before. And that's why, to me, it has become so shocking to find out that most people with marketing degrees that cost, these marketing degrees literally cost $10,000 to $200,000. And the crazy thing is they're coming out of college and literally working for $8 to $10 an hour. And that's excluding tax. That's not even net. And the worst part is, they're commuting 2 hours a day, an hour to work, an hour back, which obviously they have to pay for, and they're not getting paid for that time. They usually eat lunch out, they eat lunch out of the office, and that usually wipes out, an hour of their salary. And just the sheer financial pressure is just honestly mind-boggling. Now, if you want to see a perfect example, Kieran, who's the product manager for growyouragency.com, I'm sure you'll be finding, you'll be acquainted with him a couple of times. Obviously, he's one of the head coaches. He used to work 40 hours a week, and a lot of time doing overtime. And he used to commute an extra 10 hours, right? So 2 hours, an hour there, an hour back. And he was actually the head manager at Times Magazine's internal marketing agency that managed 400,000 pounds per month in retainers. So he was the head of an agency making 5 million pounds a year, right? I think that's almost like $7 million a year in retainers. And the scary thing is, before he worked for Grow Your Agency, you could sign literally one small shark client and you'd be making more money than him, right? And he's more than comfortable sharing that. And, that was one of the reasons I was able to, kind of rip him away from Times Magazine. Is just, he was excited by the vision. And obviously it's mind-boggling to me how little some people get paid. All right. Now, gratitude. The reason I'm telling you this, you might be wondering, why are you telling me this? Is because of gratitude. I think sometimes we truly forget to be grateful for the opportunity we have in front of ourselves. You can literally sign 1 to 3 clients, and you're working a fourth. You're working a fraction as much as most people your age. You're making more money. You wake up when you want, go to the gym when you want, and you're truly having a positive impact on businesses out there. Look, guys, we didn't get into the business of selling rubber ducks to people online. All right, we're not here just selling some random BS, just selling some random BS and just having a business with no substance. We have a business that is literally having a positive impact on other businesses out there. And by you helping those businesses with their marketing, that has sort of a trickle down effect where you're helping them and then they're helping more people. So, just take a minute, when you're feeling, tired or pissed off or whatever, and just have a little bit of gratitude and take some pride. Take pride in the work you do for your clients and never take anything for granted. As I said, at IAG Media, which is my agency, as well as growyouragency.com, which is this online education company, whenever I'm feeling tired or restless, I always remind myself it's an honor, not a job. if, sometimes with my agency, if I ever get frustrated because, maybe a campaign was a flop, maybe one of our audiences was a dud, or, maybe a client is frustrating me, which, very rarely happens. I'm going to show you through the space of this course how to find incredible clients who respect your time, respect your expertise. But, in the very odd instance where, a client has irritated me, or there's been some issue with the client, I also have to remind myself, it's an honor, not a job. It's an honor, the fact that literally I can just have, 6-7 clients and be making more money than, a lot of CEOs out there in just in actual profit. While working a hell of a lot less and working for myself and setting my own schedule. So, that's really something I need to remind myself. It's that, it's an honor, not a job. All right. And once again, this is available for download right below this video. Once again, I recommend, if you haven't already, get a printer and print this out. Keep this around your house. So it's an honor, not a job. Never take this opportunity for granted, because the crazy thing is a few clients will produce an income that most MBA students struggle to make. It's crazy. Most business, most people with a business degree or an MBA or whatever, they come out of college and they're struggling to even get a job for $15 an hour. And if you just get a few clients, that'll produce an income that, as I said, most MBA students are struggling to make right now. And the best part is you are helping real businesses and, in turn, real people. So next thing is become T-shaped. All right. So here is, here's a couple different examples of I-shaped, generalist, and T-shaped. And this is, they've had this sort of classification of people for decades and decades now. I've read in a couple books, and I've been familiar with this for a few years at this point. But I-shaped is someone who is an expert at solely one thing, and they put blinders on. They don't look at anything else, and they're like, I'm just gonna be an expert at this, and I don't care about anything else. And that's pretty good. There's some use in that. The next thing is a generalist, and a generalist is capable in a lot of things, but they're not an expert in any. And once again, that I guess also has its place. But the best thing you can be is be T-shaped. And a lot of the best companies out there, they're looking for T-shaped people. Now, a T-shaped person is someone who is capable in a lot of things, but is an expert in one thing. And the benefit in that is the fact that really just the fact that, you do have that area of expertise, but you also have competence in other areas, and that's a real advantage as well. So become T-shaped, expert area. The two most important skills you need to learn and refine are your lead generation and sales skills. This is the long end of the T. Nothing else will drive your business forward as much as those two skills. And you need to remember that. Two most important things will always be lead generation and sales skills, because no one else can do, yes, technically some other people could do your lead generation, and technically someone could close your clients. But, with the size, considering how efficient, lean, and profitable we want your agency to be, you're the one who should be responsible for the lead generation and sales. The next thing is service delivery. Now, you can't have a successful agency unless you have A1 service delivery. And here's the thing, I see people all the time, and they're always so worried, is creating a marketing agency, is that getting saturated, et cetera, et cetera. And quite frankly, no, because if you think about how many businesses there are compared to how many agencies there are, it's, it doesn't even compare. There are so many businesses out there. It honestly is somewhat mind-boggling. But apart from that, the thing is, I use this example all the time. There is so much demand, there's so much fierce competition to become a professional basketball player. But do you think that ever stopped Kobe Bryant? He's like, oh, you know what? Becoming a professional basketball player, there's too many people wanting to do it. It's too saturated. So, I'm not going to bother. No, of course not. Right? He looked at it and he's just like, I'm going to be better than everyone else. Right? And that's the exact same mentality you need to have with your agency. You can't just be good at sales, finding leads and selling them. That can only last you so long. You need to make sure that you have incredible service delivery as well. All right. And don't worry about competition, this thing or that thing. As long as you have better service delivery than, the agency to your right and your left, it doesn't matter. All right. So getting back to this should be another area of expertise where you're extremely diligent. The thing about service delivery is that you can outsource it. All right. So that's one thing to keep in mind, is you can outsource your service delivery. That said, whether you decide to deliver the services yourself or you decide to outsource it, you should have a strong understanding of how to get your clients results. All right. Remember, you should be T-shaped. So if if you're, the long end of that T should basically be sales or lead generation, finding potential clients and selling them. But you should still know enough about how to deliver the services yourself that if you bring on a contractor, you know whether they're doing a good job or not. And once again, I'm going to teach you all this later on in the program, even specifically how to deliver the services yourself, if you don't want to bring on a contractor or get someone else to help you with that. And the next thing is short T. So other areas, or in the short end of that T, the other areas that you should learn and still have a good understanding of include copywriting, tax structure, efficiency, accounting, mindset, managing a team, and your specific niche knowledge. Now, if any of that seems overwhelming to you, don't worry, because that is the point of this entire program. The point of this entire program is not for me to teach you some hack or some trick or make you a one-trick pony. That's the thing I hate most when I see in business is people getting cocky when really all they are is just a one-trick pony. I'm going to show you everything from, being world-class at, finding leads and selling them, but also the service delivery side of things, accounting. I'm very odd. I'm one of the few people on earth that actually just has a incredible passion for accounting, cash flow, making sure that things are as tax efficient as possible. And I'm also going to show you how to manage a team, how to manage expectations, how to manage yourself. All right. So once again, if we look at that T, the T shape, this should be lead generation and sales. And all of this should be, accounting, managing team, managing yourself, systems and structures, making sure that you're as tax efficient as possible, copywriting, just, that should all be this side of it. And once again, this program is going to teach you everything you need to know here, as well as the long end of the T as well. So the next thing is, it's probably a personal problem. All right. And I'm just going to leave you quite simply with this quote, which is, you don't have a business problem. You have a personal problem manifesting in your business. Now, week 2 of this process is all going to be about mindset. And I've literally said this 2 years ago. I don't know if you can see over my shoulder, but those are just some of my books. These days, most of the time I read on Kindle, and that's how I create the cliff notes that you're going to see in the resources section. But, from the age of 14 to 17, so almost 3 years, I read a book a week. All right. And that's why when I actually found this vehicle, which is social media marketing and building a marketing agency. So, it was almost for 3 years, like I was just training myself. I was going to the gym, I was dabbling in meditating, I was reading a book a week, and I was almost like building myself up so that when it came time to building a business, I was, and apart from the fact that it took me 7 months to get my first client, from me getting my first client to my second client, after my second client, I just shot up. Right. And, by the age of 18, I'd made my first million, as a lot of you guys know. So, how was that possible? It was the fact that I realized that I needed to work on myself before I could work on my business. Now, in this course, once again, I'm going to show you how to be killer in your business, but also how to manage yourself, how to manage your state, your focus, and how to make sure that, when someone else does a week of work, you can literally do 1 day of work, and that's going to have more dividends, and you're going to reap the rewards of that much more than someone who works a week. I'm going to make sure that you no longer self-sabotage. I'm going to make sure that you can almost, and we're going to get into some awesome stuff in week 2, which is mindset and just generally making sure that, you are as focused as you can possibly be, and your output is way better than the competition. So I don't want to give away too much right now, because week 2 is a really, really exciting week. But, take that to heart. A lot of time when you think that you have a business problem, you think that you have a problem with signing clients, a lot of the time it turns out that, well, no shit, you have a tough time signing clients, because, one day you wake up at 7:30, the other day you wake up at 9:45, the other day, you're not out of bed before 12:30, noon, lunchtime. And, no shit, you have a tough time signing clients, because you're all over the place. That is a personal problem that's manifesting in your business. Or no wonder you have a tough time signing clients when you have this mental roadblock. And you have this mental roadblock and this limiting belief about money and the fact that you might think that you don't even deserve money, right? So we need to go in and we need to change your self-identity, which is, a large part of week 2. So once again, really just keep that in mind. When you feel as though you have a roadblock in your business, or for example, you think that you want to quit, because the actual business is too hard, a lot of the time that is a problem in yourself, right? And the issue is that's nowhere near as sexy as saying, oh, these 3 hacks, this one hack helps me, blah, blah, et cetera, et cetera. It's more intrinsic. And it's more, it's root level and it's intrinsic. And a lot of time, that's not as sexy for people, but I'm going to show you how to actually win by controlling your external and controlling your internal throughout this process. So the next thing is progress, not perfection. All right. And that's something you really need to keep in mind throughout this process is win small. So every small win should be taken in and celebrated. Progress is all that matters. And progress doesn't have to be just making $10,000 per month from your agency. It could literally be as small as making 20 cold calls that day. If you made 20 cold calls that day, and it's your first day, and you make 20 cold calls that week, and then the week after you make 25 cold calls, et cetera, and you keep stacking them up against each other, those are small wins, and those small wins that you get under your belt, that builds momentum, and momentum gets you to where you want to be. Now, the next thing you need to keep in mind is action, not result. So never judge yourself for the result. Judge yourself on the action. Now, why? Because the action is what gets the result. You see, sending out enough cold video audits or cold messages is what gets the result. Taking action and putting in the work is in your hands, and the result of those actions oftentimes isn't. You see, one of the unfortunate things about life, as I said, it's kind of like poker. You can do all of your due diligence. You can put in the hard work. You can do all that stuff, but sometimes you're still dealt a shitty hand. And any successful person will tell you luck still always has to do, the saying that's, I don't need luck, I create my own luck. That's literally the stupidest fucking saying I've ever heard in my entire life. It's just not true, right? There is a small fraction of luck in any situation, fraction of luck and timing in any scenario. So just remember, a lot of time the result isn't in your hands, whereas the action is. You see, at the end of the week, if you haven't signed a client, but you know that you've done everything you could in terms of outreach and having enough discovery calls / meetings, then that's fine. Keep pushing and success is inevitable. You see, a lot of time I see people beating themselves up because they didn't get a client at the end of the week, but they took all the necessary actions, they put in the work. And the thing with that is the work that you put in today, you won't reap the rewards of that for, a week, a couple weeks, maybe even a couple months. Those, all the leads that you reach out to, they might come back around, after you follow up with them, and they might only convert a couple months from now. That doesn't mean that you had a bad week. That just means that you didn't get the result now, and that's fine. Be patient. So the next thing is paralysis. Do not get paralyzed by trying to get your website perfect or watching enough of the course or doing enough niche research. You will never feel ready. So the most important thing is just to start taking action as soon as possible. Next thing is the client needs you more than you need them. All right. Now you might not understand this yet, but it's true, even if they don't know it. All right. Now here's you. The thing is, if you don't sign the client, no worries, because you just go out and you sign a new client and you'll just go help one of their competitors. Okay. And you are the one with the understanding of the business model that can turn a business around. You're the one with the marketing knowledge, or you're the one with the agency that has, for example, a contractor with the tangible nitty-gritty marketing knowledge that can turn a business around. All right. Now if the client doesn't sign with you, their business continues to struggle or leave money on the table. And they see their competitors fly by ahead of them because, you can very easily reach out to one of their competitors and just sign them instead. And they might get lured in by some other idiot or some other schmuck who hasn't gone through the best agency education in the world, and therefore they'll get shit results. All right. So once again, let's compare you on the left. This is just one prospective client out of, dozens and dozens, just one. Whereas, and if you don't sign them, you can just sign their competitor or just sign any other random client within that niche. Whereas if they don't sign with you, what are the issues? The issues are, once again, their competitors could fly by. They'll continue to leave money on the table, or even worse, they'll get reached out to by some other schmuck, who has absolutely no idea what they're talking about, and then they'll end up getting shit results and getting burned by them because they probably didn't have this, which is the best agency online education course in the world, hands down. Results have proven it. So just remember that, all right? Remember that the stakes for you are a lot lower than the stakes are for them. Now, one thing that might play with your head a little bit is the fact that, they might seem so nonchalant and non-bothered, and that is simply because you don't know what you don't know. All right, they don't realize the severity of their situation. If they do realize the severity of their situation, then more than likely they'll take action and they'll sign with you. But the issue is if they don't, the thinking behind that is they don't know what they don't know. They don't understand the severity of it. So, they might act nonchalant, or, you might be confused because you're like, E-Man said that they need me more than I need them. But they're acting, quite clearly they look like they don't care. And the reason that is because they don't know what they don't know. They don't know the severity of the situation. But when you see it, kind of side by side right here, you can quite clearly tell that the client needs you more than you need them. So next thing is you are one client away. And remember that. And once again, this is available for download. You can see the quote here. And you can see it's an honor, not a job, and this will be available too. You are one client away. Make sure you go ahead and print this out. You are one client away from quitting your job. You are one client away from supporting your family. You are one client away from repaying your friends. And you are one client away from buying that Rolex. Now, it depends on whether you sign a fish client, a shark client, or a whale client, right? If you bring in a shark, then you literally are one client away from quitting your job. If you bring in a whale that pays you $8,000 per month or more, you literally are, that's that one client away from buying the Rolex that you've always wanted. So always keep that in mind. If you are having a tough month or a tough week or a tough day, just remember you are always just one client away, and keep that in your mind. All right. You can see just a couple examples right here. These are just some of my clients, past and present, and you can see on the left side, 7,400 pound a month retainer. That really does mean that, that one client alone, which is 9,650 a month, 9,600 a month, that one client alone would, pay for my dream apartment. That one client alone can pretty much ensure that, because keep in mind that client pays every single month. That's just not that's a monthly retainer. That's not a one-time fee. So that client's paying, almost $120,000 a year service fee. That one client can ensure that, I can go around the corner and buy myself a, $15,000 Rolex. All right. And you can see right there, we have another $10,000 per month client that I signed, and I gave him a 10% discount for paying 3 months up front. And you can see I literally was wired 21,000 pounds, which equates to roughly, I believe, $27,000. Now, once again, you can just see on these next pages, we have another shark client, so 4,000 pounds a month in the top left, which equates to roughly $5,000 a month. And you can see it if you see my debrief. Once again, you can see that called it a whale client, although now, because of the amount of student success we've had to add those 3 tiers in. Below, we have another $6,800 a month client, and you can see on the right, and once again, that's a monthly client, and on the right, you can see a one-time fee. I charge them 15,000 pounds, so $20,000. That's basically, at the time, that was my going rate for me to come in for 2 days and consult a business. So our agency, we do Facebook ads and a little bit of retargeting on Google. And then I also have a 2-day training where I'll come in, either I'll build in a webinar, build out a funnel for them, a sales funnel, webinar funnel, or I'll actually go ahead and basically skill transfer, knowledge transfer, everything I know over to their team. But, when I say that, you're one client away. I literally do mean that. Here is me on the left side moving into the same apartment that I'm recording this from. Between bills and stuff like that, I pay roughly £4,000 a month for this place, which is roughly around $5,000 a month. To a lot, that seems very, very expensive, but keep in mind, I live in literally the most expensive postcode in London, which is already an extremely expensive city. And this is like my dream place. To be honest, I'm making a hell of a lot more money now than I was when I moved into this place. And I've looked at places that are, this place is $5,000. I've looked at places that are 10, even pushed up to like $15,000 a month, which considering my income is, pretty reasonable. And I still can't find anything I like better than this place. I've even touched this place up a bit. And I just absolutely love this place, and this place was only possible because of everything that I did with my marketing agency. And then you can see on the right here, this is actually me picking up my first ever Rolex. I paid roughly around $15,000 for this Rolex, and that seems like a lot, but once again, remember, if you have clients here paying you, $10,000 a month, $5,000 a month, or even if you have like some clients paying you $3,000 a month, $4,000 a month, and once again, keep in mind tax. Always keep in mind tax. But if you set aside $1,000 a month, from your earnings, in the space of you can buy some Rolexes for as cheap as $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $10,000, and that's really what I do mean when I say that you are one client away, and that should really bring it into perspective that life can change a lot for you. And look, it's not and I'm not wearing my Rolex right now. Since buying my Rolex, I've kind of gone into watches and stuff like that. But it's not going to be a Rolex for everyone. For me, that was the stuff that I was able to do after I'd been in the agency world for a year and a half, almost 2 years. I was able to move into this dream apartment of mine. I was able to buy a Rolex and then go on to, buy, get even more into watches and stuff like that, which is kind of the only thing that I ever really splurge or spend my money on. I guess that's a little bit more flashy, but, that wasn't where it started for me. Where it started for me was being able to take my mom to Paris, which you're going to see in just a second. For me, I was able to just take care of some of my friends, go to a nice dinner with my mom for her birthday and pay for it. Like, those were the small little things. So yeah, once you start getting into the 20, 30, 40, 50K a month territory with your agency, maybe even 15K a month territory, you might be able to move into, or you definitely will be able to, because as I said, London prices are astronomical, but you'll be able to move into an incredible apartment. You might be able to look down and see a Rolex on your wrist. And for me, I don't own any cars. I'm not really a car guy. I'm a huge watch guy. I like investing in watches and stuff like that. But, for some of you guys, you might be able to look down and see, a Porsche symbol, or see a Mercedes symbol, or a BMW symbol, or, you might be able to have your hands on the steering wheel of a Jaguar F-Type. Whatever it is that you're into and whatever sort of has meaning to you, for whatever reason, you might be able to reap those rewards and have those benefits, in the next few months and the next few years. So getting back into it, you can see, for me, it's always been about my mom. You can see right in the middle there, we were actually in Paris, and she'd always wanted to go to Paris. So eventually, once my agency started picking up and I made enough money, I took her to Paris for the first time, which is incredible experience. I mean, you can see the smile on her face. You can see top right, just taking her to some nice dinners, $200 dinners, and just not having to worry about it. And you can see below that, I was in LA for the first time, which is awesome. I'd never been to LA, and was able to do some nice shopping. And on the left side, this was a little bit more recent. I went to Bali for 2 months to try the whole digital nomad lifestyle. Wasn't really for me, but I brought my mom out, flew my mom out, and it was nice. She was able to spend a week with me, or I think it was almost 10 days with me. Enjoy the sun, and you can see that you could tell that she doesn't really go on many holidays, because you can see how red she is. But being able to do this for your family is a feeling that's indescribable, really. So once again, just to kind of drill back down, or drill it into your head, we have fish clients, we have shark clients, and we have whale clients. Now, today's action step is I want you to create a Google Doc or Word document and write out these 6 paradigms that were mentioned in this video. Then write out 2 to 5 sentences on what they mean to you personally. Now, I strongly recommend that you use Google Docs because throughout the rest of this course, I'm going to be giving you LTV tracker, which basically means a lifetime value. So that's going to be a Google sheet. I'm going to be giving you outreach tracking sheets. Once again, that's going to be a Google sheet. I'm going to be giving you financial planners, day planners. I'm just going to be giving you so much stuff, and the book Cliff Notes, that's on Google Slides. So I'm going to be giving you a bunch of stuff that all fits into the whole Google ecosystem, and it's all cloud friendly. So I strongly recommend that when you do this document, you actually create it on Google Docs. So what you need to do is 2 to 5 sentences. So write out these 6 paradigms, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe make it bold. And then below that, just write out 2 to 5 sentences on what they mean to you, how it would maybe change your perspective, how you're going to carry it through, over the next few months and years, and how you're going to keep it in mind when you go ahead and run your business. So go ahead and do that, and I'll see you in the next module.